Good morning and welcome back to the home of British motorsport. Of course, the iconic Silverstone circuit for two more races in the GB3 Championship. Today we have the first race coming up shortly. That is decided by the qualifying yesterday, and then of course we have the always eventful reverse grid race coming up later on this afternoon. It was a fantastic day yesterday for Rodin Motorsports, with Alex Ninovic extending his lead at the top of the championship with a lights to flag victory from pole position, and his teammate Jean-Marco Pradel coming second, giving Rodin another 1-2 in the GB3 Championship. I'm Jon Jackson. As you can see behind me, we've got changeable weather again today. Grey overhead, but the sun does keep peeking through the clouds. And a lot of the concerns yesterday from the drivers was that there's going to be a lot of rain in the air. I'm looking at the weather forecast. I'm not really seeing any rain. It'd be interesting to see what the teams are making of this, because a lot of the drivers out there seem to want rain for some reason. We'll get into that a little bit later on as we chat to some of the drivers. But first of all, after an epic race to start our weekend yesterday, let's just remind ourselves of what happened in round 13 of the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC.
Highlights from round 13 of the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC. Racing down to the first corner with Ninovic leading. It was already a switch though for third position, as Jean-Marco Pradel was able to work his way past on Deegan Fairclough. Flynn Jacks will go over the inside, going through Maggots, Beckett's, Chapel before rejoining a fair amount further down the order. Michael Shin going side by side with Will McIntyre, squeezed out wide, allowed his teammate Wampu Shui to go through, and Enzo Tarvanical, who would hit the rear end of Shui, causing a bit of nose damage as well, bit of a lock-up as well, coming in from the hill speed driver as Shin, as he was trying to slow the car down. Side by side in the battle for what was second position in the race, Pradel was making a move on Reza Sawuthan, who was then having a door opened wide for the number 7 of Deegan Fairclough, who would go around the outside of 1 and 2, straight up into second position, leaving it side by side with Jean-Marco Pradel, and then back into the fight by the time they got into Brooklands. Unfortunately, a bit of a costly error coming in from Reza Sawuthan, tapping the rear end, fortunately not giving any suspension damage or any tyre punctures to Deegan Fairclough. There would be one though for the number 35 of Patricio Gonzalez. Of course, Reza Sawuthan will be into the pit lane. The battle though between Keanu Alazari and Deegan Fairclough would see this fight for third position between the two high-tech TGR cars. Out through the final corner to begin 3 laps left to go, and it was Keanu Alazari working his way through into third position. Unfortunately, Deegan Fairclough was having to settle for 4th. The fight for the podium though was seeing second and third go side by side, but unfortunately it wouldn't really happen. Alex Ninovic though was well clear as he would come through the final corner to take a dominant victory here at Silverstone. It was a 1-2 as well for the Rodin team, but the championship leader looking extremely strong.
Result that is for Rodin Motorsports, a 1-2 for them to start their weekend off in style, and obviously they'll be looking to see what Alex Ninovic can do from the pole position on the grid coming up for round 14. So the championship standings, as we can see, a 52-point lead for Alex Ninovic with Rodin Motorsport ahead of the fellow Australian Patrick Herzenreuter in Excel Motorsports for 216 points there. And another Australian, a top 3 all-Australian with Jean-Marco Pradel, again with Rodin Motorsport after that second place finish on 210. Deegan Fairclough, the reigning F4 champion in high-tech TGR colours, 202, with Keanu Alazari also with high-tech, but not in the high-tech colours, in the bright pink car with 185 in 5th place there. Will McIntyre in 6th, Noah Lyle 7th, with Reza Sawuthan in 8th, and Hugo Schwarzer 9th, and Lucas Fluscher rounding out the top 10 with Argenti by Prema in 10th place. And we mentioned Keanu Alazari, a great drive from him yesterday. While we're giving Rodin Motorsport all of the plaudits and we're saying how well Alex Ninovic has done getting to his 4th victory of the season after putting it on pole for a 4th time, and a 5th pole position coming up in this race. Keanu Alazari went from 7th place all the way onto the podium in 3rd. There were huge celebrations from him. Of course, he got 2 podiums back in the Hungaroring in the last couple of rounds of the GB3 Championship. And after the celebrations were in full swing, I spotted a familiar face. That is his dad, and we had to catch up with him as he got his hands on his son's trophy. I'm here now with a very proud parent, Karim Alazari, father of Keanu Alazari, with your trophy. Got your hands on the trophy there, and your son's got his hands on quite a few trophies this year. You must be very proud.
Yeah, of course. It's been a great season. I've been watching from TV in Dubai, but to come here live and see the energy and the action, High-Tech are doing a great job. So it's good fun, good weather, good race.
It must be not quite as good weather as Dubai, but I'm sure you're very proud of what he's doing here.
Yeah, of course. It's hot and humid in Dubai right now. It's the humidity that you feel. No, the weather here is fantastic, no?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot cooler, but the performances you've seen this year from Dubai have been super impressive, you know, improving every single week. And you've got 2 more races to look forward to this weekend. I mean, what can he achieve?
Well, today I think he already achieved a lot, so just keep going like that. We all know he can race. He's been racing his whole life very well, so I think he can achieve a lot. Now the car looks nice and sorted. I see the engineers are excited, and that normally means a lot.
Do you remember the first time you watched Keanu race?
Yeah, I do.
And what happened? What was it in, and how did it go?
I was a Bambino race. I think he was 7 or 8, and I was his mechanic. So it wasn't a great race. No, I think he qualified 17th and finished 5th. So I didn't do a great job, but he took care of it in the race.
And obviously, like, when you have a talented son, how early did you see that talent? Because I'd imagine a lot of kids want to be racing drivers, but some aren't naturally going to be that good.
Look, people always say that dads always think their kids are the best, so I'd rather not comment on that.
Okay, of course. Well, look, Graham, it's been great chatting to you. You got the trophy in your hands. I know there's celebrations going on, so we'll let you continue and go and celebrate with your son and the rest of the team.
Thank you.
Great to catch up with Keanu Al-Azhari's father, Kareem Al-Azhari. Very humble there. I didn't want to talk about anyone but his son and his success, and you have to respect him for that. A great drive from him yesterday, making his way from 7th up to 3rd on the podium. Another podium, that's his 3rd in 4 races after 2 podiums, as I mentioned, out in Hungary last time out. 2 more races coming up here at Silverstone this weekend. We're going to take a look at the Silverstone track in just a little while. We're also going to ride on board and see what it looks like from a driver's perspective, with one of the drivers returning to the GB3 Championship after actually quite a long time away. We last saw Michael Shin back in 2023. It's not been as long away for Enzo Tarvanico with VRD Racing. He was here last time we were at Silverstone. He's been off racing in another category in Europe. His best place finish last time we were here at Silverstone was 12th, and he's aiming for a little bit higher this weekend. Welcome back to the GB3 paddock. Where have you been? What have you been up to?
Yeah, so been driving Euro Cup, my main championship. Obviously, it's always nice to get to drive more. And obviously I enjoy my time here in GB3 quite a lot. And yeah, happy to be back.
How have you been getting on over there in Euro Cup?
Yeah, I mean, it's been quite a difficult season for us, more because of luck. We've had many unlucky moments across the season, and I just think we lack a little bit of that luck when it matters more than anything, because we're always quite fast, just, yeah, like I said, quite unlucky.
The good and bad thing about luck is that it can change very quickly. Let's talk about the first race, because we can see the front of your car has a little bit of damage on it. What happened?
Yeah, I mean, it was just a small misjudgment, just quite a small racing incident, to be fair. Also because I drive Euro Cup and I wasn't really sure exactly how long I should judge the front wing at, and just made a small misjudgment, but nothing really major, nothing came of it, so yeah, quite okay.
One of those ones that looks a lot worse than it is. What are you achieving this weekend? I mean, are you sticking around for more races? I'm never sure which races you're doing.
Yeah, I'm going to stay for the rest of the championship now, because I don't have any more clashes. So I think it'll be good fun, and yeah.
I feel like we need to see you on the podium.
Yeah, race 3 doesn't look like a bad opportunity, starting from P4. I think the pace is much better than last time out. We were struggling the first round here. So I think if everything goes well, we can fight for the podium, if not even the win in race 3. But today and race 2 is just going to be about maximizing, learning as much as possible to, you know, hopefully try and scrape that podium in the sprint.
I think seat time is very important, and given that you haven't had as much here, I think the more races you do, the better it's going to get. So we wish you the best of luck for the rest of this weekend, and we look forward to seeing you around a bit more.
Thank you so much.
Big character, Enzo Tarvanico. As you'll see on the footage there, he's driving the Red Bull branded car, so you won't miss that going around the track as we bring you live coverage in around about 15 minutes time. Now, one of the drivers I mentioned before returning to the series is Michael Shin. He's been away in Europe doing all kinds of things, actually, after he finished his stint in GB3 a couple of years ago, and I caught up with him at the end of the day yesterday to find out what exactly he's been up to. Welcome back to the GB3 paddock. It's been a little while. What have you been up to since we last saw you?
Yeah, so since I've left GB3, I've done Euro Cup 3, and I've also been racing in the Euro Formula Open Championship.
Wow, so lots of stuff. How's that all been going for you?
Yeah, it's been going good. You know, I feel like we've been progressing each year, and this year we're in the championship fight for Euro Formula Open, so hopefully that goes well.
I believe you're 3rd in the championship at the moment. It's doing pretty well.
Yeah, 1 point off second and 15 points off first, so hopefully we can get some rounds together before the season ends.
Well, look, best of luck with that. But you're here to do GB3 this weekend, 11th in the first race. How is the new car? Because you've got the experience of driving both cars recently.
Yeah, the new cars definitely feel a bit more planted in the high-speed corners. So Sector 1 at this track is quite fun. And also the introduction of the DRS was quite interesting, you know. Having to engage it during the race, being a bit more strategic about getting better exits. It put another element of challenge into the play, and I think it helped prepare for my future, where I might be racing in F3 or F2 where we use DRS.
That was my next question. So is that your aim after this season?
Yeah, that is to be racing in F3 in 2026.
Excellent stuff. Well, look, we wish you the best of luck with everything you're doing. 2 more races left this weekend. What do you think is achievable? Because it's quite a job to step into this brand new car and master it straight away.
Yeah, going into that race, I really had no idea what to expect. I never did a long run in this car, and I also didn't know how much dirty air there would be, so it was more about learning. And now that I have that experience under my belt, I think I can start pushing a bit more and piecing it together. Hopefully finishing both races in the top 10, and it'll be a good way to go into summer break.
Hey, well, look, we look forward to seeing what you can get up to this weekend, and best of luck.
Thank you very much.
11th place in race 1 yesterday for Michael Shin, driving with Hillspeed this weekend. He'll have another opportunity coming up very, very soon to score some more points back in GB3. Great to see him back here. Now here at Silverstone, we race at the National Pit Lane, so slightly different to Formula 1. They moved over to the pit lane on the Lewis Hamilton Straight a number of years ago now, so the track is slightly different. I mean, the layout's the same, but where we start and finish from is completely different, and Lewis McGlade will talk you through that track map before we ride on board with Michael Shin to see what it looks like from his eye in the Hillspeed.
We return to the home of British motorsport for this weekend's GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC, with such iconic corners, Copse, Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel that run down the hanger straight into Stowe before we go through the Vale Club chicane and then out onto the Hamilton Straight. The new loop built in 2010 as they go through Abbey, Farm, Village and the loop, out through Aintree and onto the Wellington Straight, down into Brooklands and of course through Luffield and then Woodcote, the final corner onto the start-finish straight. 18 turns around here, all of which have plenty of overtaking opportunities, but the important thing here is 2 DRS zones around the 3.6, 5.8 kilometre circuit, one of which goes down the Hanger Straight, the other down the Wellington. On board with Michael Shin around the Silverstone circuit as he set a PB lap in qualifying. 6th position he'll be starting. Let's see how he was able to take on this circuit. Extremely fast going through the opening corner of the track at Copse, being careful for track limits on the left-hand side before you hold your breath and head in to Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel to the left-hand side, flat through the right, bit of a lift back over to the left-hand side and hold it as far left as you can before you flick it through the right-hander and then back out onto the Hanger Straight. DRS open, this is the first of the DRS zones around this circuit, and that race down into Stowe Corner. Great overtaking opportunity. You can do inside, you can do outside around here, but of course that DRS might mean the overtake is done before even the braking zone is hit. Very fast corner there through Stowe, dropping down the hill on the exit before a slight rise up into the braking zone as they work their way through Vale and into the club section of the circuit. Watching out for the Sawtooth curve on the left-hand side as they head out onto the Hamilton Straight. Of course, the start-finish straight when the Grand Prix is hit, but up towards Abbey, a completely flat-out corner, 6th gear, pinned all the way through, nice and easy. Obviously a lot harder when you're racing for position. We saw plenty of that yesterday. Onto the brakes and then down into the Village Loop section, the part that was added in 2010, through the loop, and then get that power on as smooth as you possibly can, up through the gears cleanly, through Aintree and onto the Wellington Straight. 2nd DRS zone active on that race into Brooklands, which is a quick corner in itself. We don't typically see the DRS used to complete a move, but it can be used to start one, going into that braking zone, of course, into Brooklands. Then Luffield, basically the final corner of the circuit, wash out wide from the initial part of that corner before finding that 2nd apex, powering through Woodcote and onto the start-finish straight. That is how you do a lap in the hands of Michael Shin's Hillspeed at Silverstone.
Well, there we go. Good to see Michael Shin's view of what he sees as he goes around the track here at Silverstone. One of the most epic tracks, of course, in all of world motorsport. Just taking a look at one of our new drivers, Yavan David, Sri Lankan driver, one of the first, well, in fact, the first Sri Lankan driver to win a major single-seater competition, as he did over in Europe recently, racing in his second race here in GB3 this weekend. 16th on the grid, he'll start from. We can move along now and see his teammates. He's driving with Excel Motorsport here. We've got Jack Sherwood, didn't have a great day yesterday. He'll start 11th on the grid. And then to his left, we've got the guy who's currently running third in the championship, Patrick Hoitzenroder with Excel Motorsport. No, sorry, in fact, he's second in the championship, isn't he, at the moment, the Australian. So he'll be hoping for a good start from the second row of the grid. And that's Excel Motorsport's very, noticeable colours, I'd say, with the flashes of pink all across them. The only other car with a flash of pink is Abby Pulling's car, the Rodin Motorsport car. Of course, Abby Pulling teammates with Gianmarco Pradel and our pole sitter Alex Ninovic. He'll start from pole for the second time this weekend here at Silverstone. And I caught up with him earlier to see how he's feeling ahead of leading us off again this afternoon. So it's the next day after your victory yesterday. What kind of messages have you had from back home overnight? Because Australia's obviously a tricky time difference to here in the UK.
Yeah, definitely. Great day yesterday, coming away with the win and the double pole. And yeah, from back home, there's been lots of messages from friends and family saying, "Good job." You know, they've been up late watching it, putting all their stuff aside to be supporting me. So yeah, massive thanks to everyone back home watching and also over here. So I can't be thankful enough.
Coming into the second race of the weekend then, you've led the most laps by quite a long way in the season, and also the stats are looking great in terms of 5 pole positions, 4 wins, with a chance to make it 5 wins in this upcoming race, starting from the front again. The weather that was maybe around that people were worried about doesn't seem to be around. It seems like we're going to have a kind of cloudy day with a bit of sun and maybe no rain.
Yeah, I think today should be a pretty good day. I think race 2 should be dry. It doesn't look like there should be any rain, and yeah, starting off pole again, we've gone over everything with my engineer, and I think we're sitting in a pretty good spot for race 2.
And also a 52-point lead in the championship at this stage. I know there's a long way to go this season and there's a lot of drivers around you. When do you start to dream of maybe winning this championship?
That's a good question. Probably before the last round.
Okay, well, we've got a long time until we go to Monza. We wish you the best of luck. 2 races to come today, and the first one you're on pole position.
Thank you.
Great to hear again from Alex Ninovic. It's becoming a bit of an all-Australian show with GB4 being dominated by Australians and also GB3 with him and his teammate Gianmarco Pradel. Currently looking at August Raber, actually one of our new drivers this weekend. He'll be starting from 18th on the grid in the Argenti with Prema team. One of our Swedish drivers that we've had in this championship. Of course, back in the day we had Joel Granfors representing Sweden as well. Reza Seaworthen is his teammate just alongside him there. Good season so far from Reza. He's going to be wanting a little bit more though. Starting 7th on the grid today is Reza, and looking very, very focused. And actually August was telling us yesterday that Reza has been a huge help to him, really giving him what he needs to know about these GB3 cars and also what it's like to drive around Silverstone. And then of course we come along to Lucas Flusha, rounding out the top 10, currently starting 10th in this championship as we go into this race. I wonder what he can do from 22nd on the grid. It's going to be a bit of a challenge for him with Lucas Flusha a little bit further back than he would like to be. But he's looking cool and collected. We can see him getting some nice cooling there from his teammates, making sure he is cool, although the temperatures here not too bad at all. And of course we have the 2 high-techs rounding out the top 3. We've heard from Alex Ninovic. Deegan Fairclough, as we can see in shot here, long-standing relationship with the high-tech TGR team. He'll be starting 2nd on the grid on the front row alongside Alex Ninovic. We were expecting him to be challenging for the title alongside Alex Ninovic, both of these drivers moving up from British F4, and he's doing just that, maybe a little bit further down the pecking order than he would like to have been. But we'll have to see what Deegan Fairclough can do from 2nd on the grid. And then of course we've already heard from his dad, Karim Alazari. We've got Keanu Alazari here in the very fetching BWT pink car, probably the most noticeable car on the grid. We've seen some incredible performances from Keanu. It's taken a little while to settle in fully, but 2 podiums in Hungary and 3rd place yesterday for him from 7th place on the grid. So it'd be fascinating to see what he can achieve today. He's going to want to get a good start from 3rd place, 2nd row of the grid. We've seen people before in fact, it was Keanu Alazzari yesterday, I believe, that jumped up several places from 7th place on the grid. So we know he starts well. He's really nailed the starts in these new GB3 cars. So fascinating to see what he can do from here. Of course, the cars now, as we see, we can just see them all sitting here in a beautiful line, waiting to go out. And they're going to get let out one by one. They're going to go around onto the grid, and then they're going to position up in their order. And then, of course, they will do a formation lap before we set them off. And, of course, they're going out now, which means I need to hand over to Lewis McGlade. So, for the first time of 2 races here in this race weekend at Silverstone, we've got this one, we've got the reverse grid race coming up this afternoon. It's time to go racing here at Silverstone.
Ready to go for race 2 of the weekend here as we go back to the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit where this season began. We've had exciting racing in that weekend earlier on in the season. We've had exciting racing yesterday. It was an absolute thriller as Alex Ninovic took victory once again. Let's take a look around the circuit though in all of its iconic corners. Maggots, Beckett and Chapel, the most iconic of all. Stowe, great overtaking opportunity. Club, great overtaking opportunity. Village and Loop, also excellent for overtaking. Brooklands had its fair share of drama. Luffield also around the 18 turns of this Silverstone circuit. Those 2 DRS zones, that one on the Hangar Straight, really seeing some major overtakes. It's going to be a fantastic race again. Of course, qualifying happened yesterday. We had 2 qualifying sessions. The first of those sessions set the grid for race number 1. The second sets the grid for race number 2. It's myself, Lewis McGlade, it's Jason Pribble alongside, as you were yesterday. Of course, you're getting ready for some racing coming up a little bit later on this afternoon. But, of course, that's for GB4, focusing here on GB3. Everyone's calm, collected, everyone's ready to go.
Yeah, I'll be here taking some notes. Finally, we get the GB3 race before ours. This is going to be, I'm sure, just another action-packed race like it was yesterday. I know Ninovic won by a comfortable margin, but all throughout the field there were just battles nonstop. Those DRS zones really doing the work, especially into Brooklands. We saw so many moves, so many passes, a couple of incidents, but overall really clean racing yesterday.
It was a really good drive from Keanu Alazzari. John's obviously spoke to him and his dad yesterday. Alazzari went from 7th all the way up to 3rd position. Today he starts from 3rd position. Chances of maybe victory? He's clearly got the race pace in the car.
Well, I definitely think so. He was really challenging hard for 2nd place, so I think at this point we kind of want to expect him to make that move right off the bat, at least in the first part of that race, and see if he can challenge Ninovic for anything.
Jack Werrell getting right in the way of the GB3 field as they prepare at the end of pit lane. They'll roll their way out and head around this fantastic circuit. Of course, they'll get there. This is a reconnaissance lap, basically, so they go out from the pit lane onto the grid, and then they will do the green flag lap. Is there anything that you reckon they can learn from it? Because, of course, when you do it in GB4, it's literally just from the assembly area, which is basically before the penultimate corner at Brooklands.
Yeah, I think this is just going to help them warm up their tires. It's a relatively cool morning today, low track temps compared to yesterday as well. So this is a good opportunity for the drivers to warm up their tires a little bit more than what we saw yesterday. Obviously, we saw those faster formation laps. I'm thinking now, yeah, that was probably because they get an extra lap coming out of the pit lane like this.
Yeah, exactly. So they'll go all the way around, they'll get into their grid slots, and then they will go for the formation lap. And then once they're back from that, the 12-lap race will begin. You can see there the conditions, 20 degrees. It's actually a similar temperature to what it was yesterday. A little bit more windy, quite a bit more cloud coverage, because throughout the day there is potential for some rain to come down a little bit later on. Not during this race, but just generally across the afternoon. We have had quite a lot of wet weather here in Silverstone in GB3 and GB4. I don't know how that makes you feel for GB4.
Yeah, it definitely makes races interesting. The one thing I want to highlight there is the humidity is actually up to 73%, which is think about 20% higher than it was yesterday. I think we're going to see the DRS system have a little bit more power this time around because the air is denser, the air is heavier. That means the wings are going to be doing more work because of that heavier, denser air. You're going to have a little bit more downforce, which means a little bit more drag, and I think we're going to see that DRS activation mean a little bit more in this race as well.
Do you as drivers kind of see that a little before you go into the race? Do you look at like the weather forecast? Do you get like obviously on TSL our timing application around here? Do you look at that and see, right, this is what the weather conditions is, so this is what I'm expecting during the race?
Yeah, definitely. It's important to know what things are happening and how they're happening and this and that, but we need to know why in order to prepare other ways, because at any point in the race, you know, say you have a little bit of understeer, say you're not going that fast down the straight, you could have a tailwind, you could have a headwind. You need to understand why these things are happening in order to understand what to do about them, right? And that's why we prepare, we look at weather, we look at all this other data, you know, for that exact reason.
Yeah, so you can see them working their way around the final corner at Luffield, and of course Ninovic ready to head his way into pole position. Now, for Ninovic, the chance of him taking another victory here, it's his 5th pole position, looking for a 5th victory, looking extremely strong, calm and collected in this championship, Ninovic, but Fairclough alongside him has not won yet. What's the chance like down to T1 for a bit of a move?
You know, it's hard to say. I think with the experience that Fairclough has, he's not going to be feeling nervous, and he's going to be feeling that energy that you should be feeling as a driver who wants to just fight for a win. I think we can expect, you know, some early moves here and there because Fairclough was quite aggressive early on in the race. He's really lined up right along the edge there as well. So you can see he's interested in making a move right off the bat.
Indeed. Keanu Elazari, you can see in the background of Fairclough as well. Someone who'll know to make the moves. You can tell by that distinctive bright pink, the BWT sponsorship, of course, the Alpine-backed driver for Deegan Fairclough. Of course, he's taken on Alex Ninovic a handful of times in British F4, of course, and a host of those times it was Fairclough on top. This time it's been Ninovic who's had the main share of solid results in GB3.
Yeah, you can see Fairclough just aimed a little bit towards the towards Ninovic there, and although this is going to be the formation lap, you know, you kind of get a feel for what's going to happen here.
Indeed, the 30-second board is held aloft, the green flag is waved, and the formation lap will begin. So Ninovic will lead them away from that. We'll get the grid order as they work their way round, but this is Fairclough's best opportunity to take victory for the first time in GB3. For Keanu Elazari, the same thing. For Pat Huizenrode, a chance for him to return into the championship fight, to really take it to Ninovic. Let's take a look at the grid order then for race 2 of the weekend. It's Ninovic on pole position once again. It's Deegan Fairclough alongside on row number 1. Then it's Elazari and Pat Huizenrode on row 2. Row 3 though, we'll see Wan Pu Shui for Hill Speed, and of course Michael Shin, his best ever start in GB3, of course returning after doing the full season back in 2023. Great to see him back on the grid. Reza Sawuthan started on the front row yesterday. It's just 7th position for him today. Noah Lyle had a stall and didn't even start the race. He'll be trying to go from 8th position. Enzo Tarbanical in 9th position alongside Kai Darianani, who did not, unfortunately, have a great start to the race yesterday, but still showed some great racing. Jack Sherwood put on some unbelievable moves, dropped back down the order. Gianmarco Prado, obviously 12th position for him, his worst start in GB3. Will McIntyre will start from 13th position alongside Abby, pulling back on row number 7 before we get to Hugo Schwarzer and Yevon David, of course starting from 16th position in the XL Motorsports team. Then it's Flynn Jackson, August Raber, of course trying to learn as best he can from his teammate Reza Sawuthan, and certainly did yesterday, did August Raber. Further down the order we've got Divi Nandan and Patricio Gonzalez. The final 4 drivers on the grid. We'll see Bianca Bustamante, Lucas Fluscher on the penultimate row of the grid. The final one then, we'll see Nicolas Stati and Rodrigo Gonzalez. 24 cars ready to do action. I'm sure we're going to get some chaos in that. Again, it'll be a 12-lap race. Just an absolute sprint. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I think yesterday was a very tame race for how things went, and it's got to be only a matter of time, right, before something happens, you'd think. But, I mean, these drivers have been doing a great job so far, so it's been good racing, and I hope to continue to see that.
Gianmarco Pradel, though, the real one to look at there, is super out of position, down in 12th spot. That is his worst start in GB3. Every other race he has started in the top 10, which is great, and only one of those he started outside of the top 5 from the qualified positions, of course, not including the reverse grid. So incredibly consistent, but this is very out of position for someone who is in contention for the championship. Of course, Pradel is 3rd in the championship. Pat Huizenroder is the 1 second. Alex Ninovic, though, is a 52-point lead. For the rest of the field, it feels like now or never. After this, there's only 10 races left.
Yeah, I mean, you see the mini battles, which are the races, and then the large battle, which is the championship, and they're almost going to mimic each other in this race, I think. Ninovic can stay calm, he can stay collected, he can afford to make mistakes, and he can afford to give up positions where, this and that. He doesn't need to, throw a race away, but he doesn't need to crash himself out. Here, you're going to see a lot of drivers take risks because they need to make up that gap and make up those point differences, and they need to do it now sooner than later, or else it's too late. Yeah. So Ninovic is in a very comfortable position.
Very much so. He's the one with the control, and he is the one on the right-hand side of your screen. Black and white card, number 12 on it. The silver and black with the red highlights on the left-hand side. That is Deegan Fairclough. The bright pink behind that, Keanu Alazari. Pat Huizenroder poised behind Fairclough. The 5-second board's been shown, and we are ready to go racing for the second time this weekend here at Silverstone. The lights are on, and they're out immediately. And for Alex Ninovic, he'll try and lead down into the first corner, but can he do so? Fairclough keeping close company as they head to the first corner, but it is Ninovic leading. Side by side through the middle of the field is Will McIntyre going to the outside there and skipping off the road, dragging alongside Jack Sherwood in the number 78 XL Motorsports car. Pat Huizenroder here, trying to make a move for 3rd position. Gets that one done on Keanu Alazari in his XL car, the white, purple and pink car. Meanwhile, Enzo Tarvanical going side by side with Will McIntyre. Tarvanical in that distinctive Red Bull livery. Everyone getting through that opening complex cleanly, though. And look at Ninovic setting sail again.
Yeah, you see just that advantage on the clean line that he has the starting position on, even though he's starting on the outside. But I think this is a really good place for him. You're going to immediately start to see the mental game of these drivers as Ninovic pulling hard away, and he's going to be feeling very comfortable. Fairclough needs to get right on him as soon as possible.
Big battle there between the two hill speeds. So Wanpu Shui and Michael Shin switch positions for 5th spot. This is a bit further down. Hugo Schwarzer in that charcoal grey and red highlighted car trying to keep, I believe it might have been Reza Sweetson, but it would have been one of the Argentinian Premier a little bit further down. Almost makes a little bit of contact there with Abby Pulling as they work their way through. That one would be the number 47 of August Raber, who was the one making a little bit of contact there, just a touch with Abby Pulling. Meanwhile, the JHR Developments car here, Kai Darianani in the 88, the first of those two. Noah Lyle directly behind. Will McIntyre, very chaotic on the opening lap.
Yeah, definitely, but keeping it nice and clean. You see that blocking, you're allowed to do those kinds of things. You're allowed to do the weaving on the straight to break the toe. We don't have DRS on this first lap, and so a lot of these moves are going to be made just by getting good runs out of the corners.
Noah Lyle then making the move just behind that. A lot of battle of teammates I've noticed on this lap. Of course, you've got the 24 there of Shin ahead of his hill speed teammate Wanpu Shui. We saw the battle between the JHR Developments cars at the back end of the top 10. We saw outside of it the two Argenti with Pramers at the front end of the field, though it's the sole Rodin running away from Fairclough at the moment. It is Ninovic with a 1 second lead over Fairclough. Huizenroder behind, Alazari behind that, of course, then Shin, then Shui, then Reza Suizan, Lyle, Darianani and Will McIntyre at the top 10 as they return their way through Maggots, Beckers and Chapel. This time by, I believe, DRS will be open and ready to go.
Yeah, it's interesting to see Keanu Alazari lose out that position to Huizenroder, but it's done a great job by Huizenroder to get himself back into that championship position and start moving forward, looking forward, and keeping an eye on that.
A couple of the XLs going side by side, bit of front wing or nose damage rather on Will McIntyre's yellow, black and blue car. That one being the Elite Motorsports. That was Jack Sherwood just losing out to his teammate. That would have been Yavin David, who's just got past there. Meanwhile, we look at the number 88 of Kai Darianani. The door is open for Gianmarco Pradel to get through as he goes side by side as they go back out onto the Hamilton straight, just leaving his nose alongside Will McIntyre there with Pradel. And now McIntyre's going back on the attack of Darianani. This is for 9th position.
Yeah, absolutely no inches given. Oh, big block-ups as well. These tires probably not quite up to temperature yet. But yeah, it's hard fighting no matter where you are out on the grid, and we're going to see if we can get a good run. First lap of DRS down the back straight, and we'll see what we can get out of this.
Almost thought that Jack Sherwood's front wing might have a little bit of damage on it, but I'm not 100% sure. We'll have to take a bit of a closer look. Obviously, the XL Motorsports car in the background. That is Will McIntyre in the yellow and black, getting past Kai Darianani in the silver and orange. Also, the door is open for the black, white and yellow highlighted car of Gianmarco Bradell. Of course, that one for Rodin. You also have the 44 in the background going on the attack. That is David, obviously his teammate, Jack Sherwood, behind either side of this Red Bull car of Enzo Tarvanical. Back to the championship after doing the opening round of the season. We'll be hoping to see him until the end of the championship. I mean, it's great to see a Red Bull livery out on the track anyway, but just doing as best he can. Hugo Schwarzer going very wide there at T1, and Abbey pulling with some suspension damage. That rear right's been pulled straight off that car.
Yeah, it's tough. Like you were mentioning with the out of position starts, it looked like Abbey pulling was a little bit out of position as to the rest of her the rest of her starting positions, and you kind of have to learn as you're going throughout the season what drivers you're used to racing against. And when you're out of position, you kind of have that unpredictability of you don't know the drivers you're around, and to an extent that might happen where you make a move that you think would work on someone in the top 10 that really wouldn't work on someone in the top 10.
No neutralisation from race control yet, as we'll get some side-by-side between Flusha in the number 3, that the more blue car there, the blue, silver and black, and of course Hugo Schwarzer in the charcoal grey VRD racing car, also being joined in the fight by Flynn Jacks in the orange highlighted Elite Motorsports car. I'm not 100% sure as to where Abbey Pulling is off the road. I think it's around here. Well, actually, no, it's not. I actually don't know where she would have been. It must be then down in the Farm Village League section.
It must be, yeah. That's the only place I could imagine that the track would look like that, but I'm not seeing any yellows.
There
at
she
the
is.
Okay. A little bit of a lockup going into the yellow zone. I wonder if race control will take a look at that.
Yeah, it's a little noise for the driver. Obviously, that it will be under double waved yellow. Safety car is deployed there. That is kind of what we were expecting. Maybe a little bit of a delayed call there, but as they're trying to get that car will not be able to be moved. It's broken suspension. It will not be able to be moved without the assistance of a recovery vehicle. As soon as the recovery vehicle comes out onto the circuit, race has got to be neutralised under safety car. They can kind of get Abbey out of the way, but to get the car out of the way, you need the assistance of the recovery vehicle.
Yeah, and it's not just the safety of the drivers that are driving around the track, it's the safety of the marshals. When you have marshals out there on the outside of a corner, especially one like the Loop, see, they're able to push it out, actually. I'm surprised that it's able to do that. But yeah, like you said, you just can't have people out on the track like that, so it's a good call from race control to neutralize this.
Yeah, this may not rob us of a lap, by the way. The average speed around Silverstone is quite high. 12 laps of racing. There is a 25-minute timer. So it's basically whichever one comes first, 25 minutes or 12 laps. Now, one safety car intervention, especially if they're getting the car out of the way quite quickly, we still might get the entirety of the 12 laps. Now, I don't 100% know what's happened here, but Deegan Fairclough is leading from Ninovich. I don't know where he took over that race lead.
Yeah, I just noticed that as well. I think that's a really good position for him because as much as an advantage as it is to have a good position on the start, you know, being on that clean line, to be leading on a restart is more valuable than anything because you get to dictate when that goes. You have the advantage on the starting position and on the starting, you get to dictate when the start happens, basically.
Yeah,
and so this is a huge advantage for Deegan Fairclough. I really do wonder where he got around him, but yeah.
I will apologise because I think it was actually at the end of the first lap. We're not 100% sure as to where that happened, but I think there was a mistake because Fairclough was leading before, so it's, you know, no dramas or anything. Apologies for missing that, but yes, Deegan Fairclough is your race leader from Ninovich, so very impressive. We got one car off the road there in the background that looked like one of the JHR Developments cars, and it also had some nose damage as well.
Yeah, I wonder, at first I thought there might have been something wrong with the car, but it looks like maybe they just stacked up. When you're going that slow, sometimes, you know, the field will ebb and flow, the concertina effect, and that kind of thing just happens. So maybe just avoiding a collision under safety car, you definitely don't want to do that.
I think it was Divi Nandan, by the way, that has that damage there. You can actually kind of see it, fourth last car now coming through the Farm Village Loop section. So a little bit of nose damage. We saw that quite a bit yesterday. Enzo Tarvanical was the main one. Obviously tapped the rear end of Wan Pu Shui yesterday. those bits of damage on the nose, they don't make too much difference. Like you were saying, it's not necessarily the downforce, it's more the drag. Once again, very close to stacking up because we're about to go back racing, I think.
Yeah, this will be good. He'll get to choose. Most likely coming out of Luffield, he'll just stomp on the power. But really, you want to be watching in your mirrors, see if the driver behind you is going to go for a weave or something like that, and just catch him off guard, because that's exactly what you want to do, is get that early lead. Oh, and he's going right now.
Yeah, so as they go into Luffield, Deegan Fairclough will take control of the field. We'll still have a fair amount of distance left to go in the race. 9 laps of racing, returning here at Silverstone. Fairclough trying to get a good start. However, he is under pressure. Alex Ninovic trying to retake over the race lead. Ninovic on the right-hand side of your screen to the outside of Cops. He's going to go. Is it going to be a big move? A little bit of contact between the two as getting pushed out wide goes Ninovic. He was grinding the car a little bit on that curb as well. Fairclough has come straight back through as well. The Rocket-sponsored high-tech TGR car there of Deegan Fairclough then leads from Ninovic and leads from Huizenrode. Fairclough looking for his first victory in GB3.
Yeah, well held on the inside. That's where you want to be through comps, but impressive from Ninovic to make it around the outside as long as he did. Really great reaction time. That doesn't usually happen, to be able to get so close right off the bat. It caught me off guard with where he went, so good reaction time by Ninovic.
Yeah, I said there was contact. I think there was a little bit of smoke. There might have been a brush between them, but it was, I think most of the smoke was coming from the car grinding on the curb a little bit there, just because of Ninovic trying to push it around the outside of the circuit. A little bit of battling happening in the background. That is the look from Flynn Jackson on Hugo Schwarzer. So the yellow charcoal grey car, that was the Elite Motorsports car trying to get past the charcoal grey and red, of course, there of Hugo Schwarzer. And Schwarzer has his teammate also in tow as well, which is Patricio Gonzalez in his debut weekend in the championship. But still, good restart from Fairclough. That's the important bit as we race our way around Silverstone once more. Yeah,
he'll be looking in his mirrors, at least for this first lap, to try and make sure that he's able to carry that speed. And I don't know exactly what tire strategy they're running. It was kind of hard to see, but I think they get 1.5 sets for the race weekend, is it? Oh, they get two full sets. And that's going to be a strategy that they're going to play. And it's possible that Ninovic and Fairclough have different tire strategies right now, so we want to look at that and see where their pace is.
Bit of a lock up there. This is the battle for third position. Keanu Alazari in the bright pink BWT car, keeping Pat Huizenrode for company as they head their way back out onto the start-finish straight. Incredibly close for the race lead. Deegan Fairclough just about keeping Alex Ninovic at bay. The two that fought for the championship in British Formula 4 back in 2024 are now fighting here at the front end of the field of the home of British Motorsport, and Deegan Fairclough is holding firm at the front for now. The problem for him, DRS will be wide open on that Rodin car as they head down the hangar straight, and this could be the move for Ninovic. Better exit though coming in from Deegan Fairclough. I think he's soaking up the pressure brilliantly at the moment.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. I think down the hangar straight is a bit difficult with these cars, but coming out of the loop is going to be where we really want to watch and see down the Wellington straight if he can make a move into Brooklands.
Reza Sawoothan there trying to make a move on Wanpu Shui, and Sawoothan will look to the inside to try and complete the move by the time they get through Stowe. We'll look in the background, off the road goes Wanpu Shui, and that'll be Reza Sawoothan looking to the outside. They go into club and they'll send it straight around the outside. Sawoothan in the number 10, the blue highlighted car there, trying to get past the red and black hill speed of Wanpu Shui. They remain side by side on the Hamilton straight. Don't go 3 wide here, and that is exactly what Sawoothan was trying to cover off. Noah Lyle is trying to attack and trying to make up for lost ground yesterday.
Yeah, well spotted by Sawoothan to block that while he's side by side with another car. It's difficult to manage when you're trying to fight a bunch of people at the same time. We want to watch out for Wanpu Shui. That's 1 off track. You get 3, that's a 5-second penalty. You don't really want to be doing that this early in the race.
Will McIntyre looking back to the inside, trying to get past Wanpu Shui. DRS will be wide open for the pair of them, and also as well behind for Kai Darianani. There was with a look in the background. There is Deegan Fairclough leading still. As they head their way back out on the start-finish. As far as my numbers are, we're definitely getting the allotted time. We're getting all 12 laps here, ladies and gentlemen. It will have 6 more laps left to go in the race, just because we had a safety car doesn't mean we're going to lose anything, which puts a smile on my face, because I can't wait to see how this one unfolds. Incredibly close between the top 2, incredibly close between those behind, and then even further back, it's still extremely close. Darianani is ahead on all of this one, as Wanpu Shui has been dropped down the order to 10th position, go Shui.
Yeah, that just happens. You get passed by one car, you're going to get passed by a couple more, especially just the way the DRS zones work. Possible he didn't have DRS while everyone else behind him did, even though he was behind some other cars. So, yeah, just unfortunate for him. Let's see if we can make it back up.
Just getting a bit of an update, by the way, as to when Deegan Fairclough took over the race lead. Well, he might have lost it then. There was a bit of a jink there coming in from Ninovic. It was the village loop section. I think there might have been a bit of a mistake from Ninovic that opened up the door for Fairclough to work his way through. Of course, so much was happening in the mid-pack at that point. I mean, that's just the chaos sometimes at GB3. Everything's happening basically all at once. And what it was a chaotic opening lap sees Fairclough at the front end of the field, but he has to survive next half of the race, and that one is not going to be easy. Look at how close Alex Ninovic is. He looks to the outside of the position he lost the race lead. Fairclough taking the defensive line into the village, then into the loop. Is he going to be able to hold on?
He's tight on the loop, which means Ninovic is going to get a better exit, especially with this DRS. I think we're going to have to watch out for this one. This might be an intense braking zone into Brooklands here.
Yeah, this is going to be it then. So you can see the DRS wide open for the car on the right-hand side of your screen. The black and white of Alex Ninovic straight through, back into the race lead. You're absolutely right. Called that perfectly as Deegan Fairclough going straight back on impact. And there's contact between the two. Straight off into the barrier goes the championship leader. Contact as Deegan Fairclough was sending it in. And here comes his teammate Keanu Alazari straight to the outside the BWT sponsored car. And it'll be Alazari to the race lead. Pat Huizenroder will come through. But drama in the GB3 Championship once again.
And that's Fairclough not coming into the pit lane. I'm pretty sure he knows his wing is gone. So I'm wondering what that strategy is. But it's good for Keanu Alazari to have gotten around Huizenroder at that point.
I mean, talk me through this. What's happening here?
It's a late move, I've got to be honest with you. It was marginal. I can't say anything more than that, really. It was yeah, it's one of those where you try to catch the other driver off guard by making a late jink into the corner. You saw it into Stowe when Ninovic was behind him. I think Fairclough might have just outbraked himself a little bit with the toe that he had been having since he's had the lead for this entire race so far. As Huizenroder coming on the inside of Stowe. Let's see if he... Nope.
No, Huizenroder not able to work his way through. I completely agree with you. Deegan Fairclough, remember when he was racing for the first time in British F4 back in 2023, as Ninovic is into the pit lane and unlikely to score points here this afternoon. It's a perfect opportunity for the likes of Pat Huizenroder as well to close up in the championship, so it could be an important victory. But yeah, I remember 2023 racing in British F4 the first year, obviously new to single-seaters, courtesy of winning the Rocket Racing Star Formula 4 Esports Competition UK. Yes, I still remember the title that got him the seat in that. He was very aggressive, and he has that side of him where he can be aggressive, he can go for the moves. He's a racing driver, it's fair enough, you're going to go for those moves. I think that might have been a touch too aggressive for Deegan Fairclough, and it is going to cost him dear here as well.
Yeah, I mean, you could see the mistake coming through out of Abbey through Farm, I believe it is. Yeah, and just a little bit wide and had to cover off the inside. It was just a hard move. I don't think that was the right time to make that decision there, but you know, a racing driver is a racing driver. You're going to want to stay in front as long as possible, especially around here. You saw how hard it was for Ninovic to get around Fairclough, and I think it would have been hard for Fairclough to get back around Ninovic as well, so he wanted to get that lead and catch him off guard once again.
Well, what that leaves us with state of play with 5 laps left to go. Keanu Alazari is leading the race, looking for his first victory. Pat Huizenroder is looking for his second victory to reignite his championship challenge when his main championship rival, 52 points clear, could be losing a whole heap of that ground. Remember, it's 35 points for a race victory, and at the moment, Ninovic is scoring nothing. What has happened here with the number 3 of Lucas Flusha? No punctures.
Yeah. I'm also noticing that Deegan Fairclough might have just gotten the fastest lap without a front wing. Maybe that's a little bit delayed.
I think that might be a bit delayed. I think we're okay on that one. Also into the pit lane is Hugo Schwarzer, and well, that front wing is jammed under the car, so they'll bring that one in. So as I was saying, Alazari looking for his first victory, Huizenroder looking for his second one, looking to return basically up in championship contention, closing it right the way down. Michael Shin returned to the championship, did the entirety of 2023, find himself in a podium position, and in that entire 2023 season, did not get a single podium for what was high-tech Pulse 8 at that point. What a return that would be to get a podium basically straight away.
This is a very good showing for Michael Shin, I would agree. This is especially not really in that great of a position off the line, right? He wasn't starting that far up. We saw another hill speed car in front of him, And yeah, he's done a great job to weave through the pack, as it were, and he's in a great position right now.
They're out back onto the racetrack is Deegan Fairclough, and at the moment is in 19th position, so we'll be scoring a couple of points at least. But of course, Ninovic most likely not. Flusha into the pit lane, will not be scoring points. Abby pulling obviously out of the race. Hugo Schwarzer still in the pit lane. So we had a dramatic race yesterday, and we're having a dramatic one once again. 4 laps left to go. And the race lead is now Pat Huijsenrode. So he has taken over the race lead on this lap. So Pat Huijsenrode has taken over the front from Keanu Alizari, and now joining the fight is Michael Shin.
Yeah, and it looks like he's gotten a good lead right off the bat. I wonder if that happened down the Wellington Straight into Brooklands, and you know, that's one sector, and he's pretty handily far ahead of him. He's gonna get pulled back in with the DRS, but yeah, I wonder if Huijsenrode just has the pace at this stage in the race.
It was through the village loop section once again then. So basically the same place what we're being told as to where Deegan Fairclough took over the race lead is where Pat Huijsenrode took over the race lead. And with 3 laps left to go, it is Huijsenrode at the front. Alizari, Shin, Siwuthan, a 4-horse battle at the front of the field with not long left to go. There is potential as well. We're being told there might be a couple of sprinklings of rain here at Abbey. This is Abbey here. A flat out, very fast corner. That is not what you want. A potential downpour.
No, it's going to be one of those corners where you're going to, especially as the leader, you have to make that decision on whether or not you want to let off, because you could run the risk of going off the track at a really important time in the race, and that's not good. So as the leader, you have to be the one to make that decision, and you're going to be the one learning for everyone else. As you can see, Huijsenrode is starting to slow up. I wonder if he's seeing those sprinkles of rain, playing it a bit safe. Darianani on the inside of Brooklands, another late move. He's on the inside still.
As Keanu Alizari retakes over the race lead then. So the bright pink BWT Alpine backed car of Keanu Alizari back to the front end of the field with 2 laps left to go. We return to the start-finish straight. That's where we're based at the moment. Mark Werrell's just stepped outside the comms booth and suggests there is no rain over this side of the circuit, so we're all safe over here. But yes, potentially the grip changing around this circuit. Alizari back to the front. The top 4 separated by just over a second as we do battle once again here at Silverstone for 2 final laps.
Yeah, this is just a lot of lead changes, which is somewhat unexpected in this race. Obviously, when we saw Fairclough and Ninovic fighting, you know, we expected a battle to happen. But these are not cars that we expected to be fighting for the win. Michael Shin coming up close to Patrick Huijsenrode as well. I'm wondering if we're going to see another change for the lead as we go in through the 3rd sector of Abbey and the village and the loop. Just depending on how the grip is changing.
Yeah, and shout out to Noah Lyle as well, of course. Didn't take part in the race yesterday, unfortunately stalled on the grid, and then was unable to take part through the race. However, said he needed to make the most of this one. 5th position at the moment. He's not that far away from this battle either. It is closing in that JHR car. Not saying he is going to join this fight, but he's ready to pick up the pieces if there is any drama. And I mean, you've got to say, great race from him.
Yeah, he's done a great job. I recall he left this round, which was the first round of GB3 this year, in the lead of the championship. He did a great round at Silverstone, so he clearly likes this track, and you know, we have reason to expect that there might be something to pick up here for Noah Lyle. So he's done a great job. He's in a prime position to pick up anything, as is Will McIntyre. But
that's the commentator's curse if ever I've seen it. I don't believe in it, but still,
really
Noah
far
Lyle,
up.
Straight off the circuit.
Yeah, it's tough, especially with the dirty tires on the grass there. Once you get off, you won't be able to get back on for a good while. So really wide, I feel for him. I get it now.
Yeah, Shin here under pressure. Reza Siwuthan looking for another podium, goes for the up and under, trying to get what was lost yesterday as well for Siwuthan. Started this race in 7th position, trying to grab the podium exactly the same as what Keanu Alizari did yesterday. Siwuthan started from 2nd place yesterday and left with no point to the inside going into Cops to start the final lap. Side by side between the pair. Shin miles off the road. Also, to be fair, with Siwuthan, they both avoided the track there as they go back into the Magnus Beckett's Chapel section. Shin is ahead, but I'm sure Race Control will take a swift look at that one.
Yeah, I think that's one of the moments where it's just racers will be racers. Neither of them are going to lift. Neither of them had dirty air, so they really had no reason to be backing out or to be going off track besides just keeping the foot in it. And so that just happens sometimes. And we'll just let them be, because I don't think either of them really gained an advantage on either one of each other.
I think it's absolutely fair. Like we'll say, the fact that Red Smoothen also slightly off the road, Michael Shin at that, whatever. They're racing hard around this circuit, and they're racing for a podium here in GB3. Shin racing for a first podium in GB3. Smoothen racing for yet another one. Al-Azhari racing for a first victory, and at the moment he's in position for it.
Yeah, he's really looking good, extending that gap still just under a second. So Huizenroder will have DRS into the Wellington Straight and into Brooklands, but it doesn't look like he's close enough as of yet, unless Al-Azhari makes a mistake in Village in the Loop. I think he's got this under his belt.
I will say that moment at turn 1 at Cops, that has been noted by race control between 3rd and 4th place. Here comes David to the outside on Gianmarco Pradel, 9th position at the moment. This fight over, so the final few points. Wampu Shui as well, not too far ahead of him. They'll work their way back out onto the Wellington Straight, but Keanu Al-Azhari will be the first one to come through that final sector. The driver who's moved up to 5th position in the championship. He's had 3 podiums in 4 races. Well, it's going to be 4 from 5, but importantly, it's going to be a first victory in GB3. Keanu Al-Azhari is going to take victory in a very dramatic second race here at Silverstone. Across the line with him is Pat Huizenroder, who's going to close up 29 points on the championship leader. Shin across the line as well to take a first podium on his return to the championship.
Yeah, I think a lot of drivers are going to be very, very happy after this weekend. Besides Alex Ninovic, I mean, he had a great first race, but this closing up of the gap now, I do wonder now where Keanu Al-Azhari stands in the championship, and this has been a great weekend for him to gaining as the maximum amount of points possible, while Ninovic has 0.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. Honestly, such a good driver. A great story as well, Keanu Al-Azhari. Again, over the last 5 races, he's the driver in form, very clearly so as well. The fact that, again, 4th podium in 5 races, that is consistency we don't typically see in the GB3 Championship, and even the other race in that I don't think was particularly poor. I mean, it was 7th place for Keanu Al-Azhari, which was in the reverse grid race at Hungary. That's not bad.
No, those are solid points. That starts to add up over time, and that's exactly what you need. Is you need to avoid the DNFs and just push and gain points where possible, and he's doing exactly that. He's at the top of his form so far this season, and this win is going to add to his confidence.
Yeah, exactly. Just very, very impressive. Also, shout out to David, who obviously into the top 10. Of course, a debutant for this round here in GB3. So a great result to get that top 10. Pat Huizenroder, though, you've got to say, a very, very important 2nd position in that race. Yes, the win would have been more important, but look, still, 29 points is 29 points. It's a big close on Ninovic.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's better than nothing, of course, and it's, certainly a very good showing for him. It gets him right back into where he needs to be. It gives another bit of confidence, because now he can go into race 3 knowing how to race, knowing the people around him, and just having a good understanding of where he stands and the types of risks he can take now.
Yeah, indeed. Well, we'll take a look at provisional race results then. So, Keanu Al-Azhari taking victory. Pat Huizenroder in 2nd position, and Shin in 3rd. Smoothen, McIntyre, Lyle, Darianani, Shui, Pradel, and of course David, the top 10. Then it's Tarvanical, Gonzalez, Patricio Gonzalez, of course, then Flynn Jack, Sherwood, Raber, Nanton, Bustamante, Rodrigo Gonzalez, Stati, and Fairclough. Will get 20th position, but might lose that with a post-race penalty. We'll have to wait and see what happens on that one. Ninovic, of course, no points at the moment, 21st position. And then, of course, the retirements of those that dropped a lap down. Into the pit lane then. And we'll get some celebrations coming in from Keanu Al-Azhari, and well-deserved, I think.
Absolutely. This is going to feel like a good win for him. He fought hard. He won by a close margin. These are the best kinds of feelings.
There we go. Straight out of the car and straight into celebrating. Very good to see. And for a driver who has been quite popular in the paddock, especially in the recent past with the solid results that's been coming in. This will be a very warm feeling indeed. You were asking about where he ends up in the championship after this one. I can confirm he'd be moving up to 4th position in the championship. He'd have 220 points. He'd be 48 points off of the championship lead. Pat Huizenroder now only 23 points off the championship lead. Of course, that may be slightly change dependent on if there is a post-race penalty coming in from Deegan Fairclough that might cost them the final point, but that's only really going to gain Ninovic 1 point potentially, and of course it's provisional anyway, so superb stuff. But honestly, great to see Keanu Al-Azari back on the podium. We were so happy with his podium yesterday, and once again,
Exactly. My garage is right outside there, and while I'm sitting there, I could see him taking pictures with the team. He's thrilled about a podium, and I can't imagine how the team is feeling right now after a win. The first win of the season is always the best feeling.
Well, look, we'll see if you can maybe grab yourself a podium in race 2 of the weekend at GB4. Race 3, you're in a much better position, so we'll have to wait and see. Cheers, Jason. Anyway, we'll head down to Jon Jackson to catch up with the top 3 after an epic here at Silverstone.
Thank you very much, Lewis. Yeah, Keanu Al-Azari, you've won a race in GB3. I'm going to let you take a drink. Do you want a drink first?
I'm good to go.
You're good to go. Get the hat on. That's contractual. How do you feel to have won a race? Performances have just been getting better and better this season.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's an incredible relief. You know, I'm very happy to finally give the result back to High Tech. First win of the season for them in GB3. Yeah, I just settled into the race quite nicely and took whatever opportunities I could find, and obviously we can see the result.
Talk me through that little battle with Pat there. That was good watching for us.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I got ahead as Alex and Deegan had a small contact. And then, yeah, I settled in quite nicely. The pace was looking good. And then I hit either a wet patch or oil or something and just ran myself off the track. So I had to make it a bit more interesting for everyone. Obviously put a lot of pressure on myself, but I think it shows my mental strength to be able to come back from that and take the win.
What did you make of the incident in front of you? Because we only saw the sort of tail end of that on TV.
To be honest, I was more focused on my battle. I'm going to have a look at it after on the replay, but I don't know what happened. Obviously, I'll take what I can get.
Yeah, it's all about luck, and you did everything you needed to do to put yourself in that position by focusing on yourself, and we'll let you go and celebrate with the team. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
There we go, Keanu Al-Azari. We'll speak to his dad, Kareem, who we heard from earlier in the show, in a little while, I imagine. Patrick Herzenroder has literally walked as far away from us as he physically can, but I think me and Andy are going to have to walk probably through the cars here, and we'll go and chat to him. Classic, isn't it? We've got another Australian on the podium, and we've not had a podium for quite a long time in GB3 without an Australian driver on it, but maybe not the Australian driver we were expecting. Patrick Herzenroder, I need to talk to you. Congratulations on your podium. We've had a lot of Australians on the podium so far this season in GB3, and you know, it's your 4th podium now in this season, and you're cutting the lead as well with Alex Ninovic not scoring points today.
Am I back in the lead?
No, you're cutting the points to the lead.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, I mean, massive credit to the boys. We've been working so hard. It's been a bit of a dry spell, unfortunately, off the podium for a while, but regardless, like, we haven't, not going to say that, but we've scored points in every race, just been consistent, and I think we're still second in championship. So, yeah, massive credit to them. We've been working so hard away from the track as well, and, you know, pressure's on me to put the job together, and I felt like I did that in quali and then had a really good race then, and, yeah, good battles on track.
It was a fun battle for us to watch with you and Keanu. What was it like in the car?
Yeah, it was good fun. We had a good battle yesterday. We both centered on each other, and then we did the same today. So, I mean, to be fair to him, he's just got really good pace. Once I got in the lead, it was like, all right, head down, see what I can do, and he just sort of dragged up to me. So, you know, I'm still happy with the second. Would have liked the win, of course, but it is what it is, and it's solid points against the championship.
Potential more points later in the reverse grid, so we'll let you celebrate and look forward to that.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Patrick Herzenroder. Let's walk forward and speak to Michael Shin. I'll come to you, Michael. Yes, you can't hear me, but there we go. We spoke earlier on, we heard earlier on the show that you're back after 2023. You didn't get a podium the first time you were in GB3, and now you've got one in your second race back.
Yeah, you know, it makes it that much more special. First podium here on the guest race back, and on the track that I struggled with last time. It's, you know, it's a boost in confidence, and it makes me really happy going into summer break.
It shows huge progress as well, but for you to come and get into this car and get to grips with the new GB3 car this season so quickly, that also must do huge wonders for your confidence.
Yeah, definitely. This car is also a step up from 2023, so it was a bit of adjusting, but I think, you know, the team helped me, they supported me in the right places, and I was able to deliver, I think.
Yeah, we can see the celebrations from the team. They were all rushing down here to congratulate you, so you're getting on with them really well, and we've got the reverse grid race coming up later on. What do you think you can achieve in that race?
Hopefully another top 10 finish. You know, I think it's going to be mixed conditions. It suddenly started to have some overcast, so we'll see.
Excellent stuff, Michael Shin. Congratulations on your first podium in GB3.
Thank you very much. Nice to be back.
Yeah, absolutely. There we go. We're going to go and watch Michael get his first trophy in just a second. I mean, we saw some epic battles out there on track. We're going to hopefully go and chat with Alex Ninovich in a little while, and also Deegan Fairclough, and get both of their sides of that story. And I'm sure that'll be being looked into by the stewards as well. But for now, let's watch the podium talked through by Lewis McGlade.
That is indeed my name. Thanks, Jonas. Of course, no, absolutely right. Can't wait to hear what the likes of Alex Ninovich and Deegan Fairclough think about that instant. Hugely dramatic race, but to focus on the important bit of that race, i.e. the front of the field. Keanu Al-Azhari, superb race and a great victory. Pat Huizenmoeder importantly saying there in that interview, scoring points in every race. He's absolutely right. His lowest finish this season in the 14 races we've had was 12th place. Incredible when it comes to his consistency. 11th place in the opening of the season. Outside of that, every other result has been in the top 10, 4 of which have been on the podium. He's still not finished third yet, though. He's finished second now 3 times, and of course he had that victory in the opening race at Circuit Zandvoort. And now second in the championship, now looking strong in second in the championship, 23 points off the title lead of Alex Ninovich. Gianmarco Pradel will be third in the championship, still got a top 10 result from that race, wasn't able to grab another podium though after qualifying down in 12th position. It was Keanu Al-Azhari who was able to take that victory, and of course Michael Shin on a return to the championship, grabbing third place. And so good to see Michael Shin for one back in the championship. Of course, when he did race back in 2023, it was High-Tech Pulsate, teammates alongside Formula 2 title contender Alex Dunn, of course, who ended up going on to finish runner-up in the season. Now though, just jumping in for a round for hill speed and showing his craft. Superb performance to grab himself third position. Pat Huizenmoeder onto the podium once more. And again, looking so strong. His second full season. Now real championship contender. But the man in form at the moment, Keanu Al-Azhari. 4 podiums in 5 races. Absolutely incredible. At the moment, as David Brabham hands out the trophies, passing it on to each of the drivers, maybe searching for seats further up in the world of motorsport. Maybe look, some of these may end up all the way up in Formula 1, some may end up in GT racing, they may even take on David Brabham himself. We have to wait and see. Keanu Al-Azhari there, top step of the podium for the first time in his career. But importantly, a 5th podium that throws him to 4th in the championship. He's made a lot of progress. I think he came into this weekend 7th in the championship. Now moves up to 4th place in the title race and 48 points off of the lead. Obviously, they'll spray the champagne, and might as well. Again, the next race might be a little bit wet later on this afternoon. Let's, though, take a look at highlights. Highlights from around 14 of the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC, and it was Ninovich starting from pole position, Fairclough alongside in that short run down into the first corner. It was a good start from Ninovich, who was able to hang on to the race lead into that first turn, and the battling was all happening behind, including here in the mid-pack, as we were seeing Abby Pulling getting squeezed into the barrier as she was trying to find her way past the Argenti with Premium of August Reber. There was a switch for the race lead on the opening lap as well, as Deegan Fairclough was able to find his way to the front. Will McIntyre was working his way forward, as was the likes of Noah Lyle for the JHR Developments car. A bit of action between the 2 XL drivers of Yevid David and of course Jack Sherwood. An unfortunate retirement from Abby Pulling. That required the safety car to come out, and it was Deegan Fairclough who was in control, but maybe not in control for very long. Straight to the outside Alex Ninovich would go on the race into Copse, that opening turn of the circuit, as they go side by side. A little bit of a push out wide. Ninovich would rescind the race lead back over into the hands of Fairclough. Once he took over the race lead, though, there was this drama. Fairclough with a bit of a dive down the inside going into Brooklands, a retirement basically coming in there from Ninovich. He ended up returning to pit lane. We finished down in 21st position. Deegan Fairclough also losing the front wing and dropping right the way down the order. No points to be scored by our championship leader, Alex Ninovich. So hugely dramatic for the title race. Pat Huizenmoeder would be into the race lead with Keanu Al-Azhari directly behind. Michael Shin also in tow. But Keanu Alazari would find his way through at Brooklands with a little bit of a deep run coming in from Pat Huizenrode, and Alazari to the front end of the field, searching for his first victory in the GB3 Championship. Late in the race, there was this moment, of course, on the final run. Unfortunately, a little bit of a mistake from Lyle, losing out the single position to Will McIntyre, who was able to work his way through into the top 5. The cars ahead, though, were extremely close as Shin was trying to fend off Reza Sawuthan for his first ever podium in GB3 and was able to do so. But ahead of all of that was this driver here. There was Pat Huizenrode behind, but Keanu Alazari, a superb drive to take his first ever victory in GB3.
Thanks, Lewis. We can actually see the celebration still continuing here with Keanu Alazari and the high-tech team. They're getting their photos. It's obviously a huge deal when a driver gets their first win in a championship. So see his dad Kareem there. We'll try and grab a word with him in just a second. But, you know, huge celebrations for them all here. It's not just the drivers that put in the work. Obviously, the people behind the scenes are putting in loads of work as well. And they're all a very close-knit team. So great to see them celebrating here. And we give them their moment before hopefully grabbing a chat with Kareem. Oh, he knows he's on camera. You can tell. The guy knows where a camera is. I love this. He's very aware. This is good. We are going to jump in a second. I did want to kind of grab them before the photos happened, but unfortunately we had to see the highlights, and that's fine. I think this is going to be a highlight for them and the family, isn't it? Watching your son win his first race in GB3. Kareem mentioned yesterday, and you might have seen earlier in the show, he's come over from Dubai to watch his son, and he's watching him win a race. Let's come around and speak to him. Kareem, how are you feeling after that? We heard from you before in the show, when we spoke yesterday, and now we've gone one better.
Yeah, look, it's been a great weekend so far. Told you the weather's nice in Silverstone, and we love being here. Yesterday was good with this good performance, and today even better. So I believe it's the first team for him and the team this year in GB3. Feels great, yeah.
Where's the trophy going? That's the big question.
I think, well, I'll take it with me to Dubai tomorrow morning.
Okay, and you can decide from there. And maybe there'll be a lot more trophies to come, so you're going to have to maybe give them out to family members.
I'll give you one.
Oh no, I don't need one. I'd rather you kept them in the family and celebrated. We obviously have one more race coming up. Is Keanu hoping for some rain, maybe?
I haven't spoken to him about it yet, but I think based on the dry performance, he wouldn't mind if it stays dry.
Okay. Well, of course, he's done very well. Kareem, congratulations. We'll let you continue your celebrations.
Thank you very much, guys.
There we go. Keanu Alazari's dad, and huge celebrations here. We're going to go and grab a word with Alex Ninovich and Deegan Fairclough, Keanu's teammate, and see what they made of that incident out there. We'll catch up with some of the other drivers as well, maybe get a word with Abby Pulling, see what happened to her car, and then we'll be back later on for more GB3 action. But after a short break, we're going to return with the second race of the weekend, the first race of the day in the GB4 Championship here at Silverstone.